Yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed, and like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. With that being said, man, I seen this article maybe about a week ago. Then I watched the news, the Spanish news, and I got my thoughts together. Then I wrote my notes down. And I found another website. It's called Border Reports, because one of my subscribers, he questioned me on some stuff. He threw something out there like, bro, you watch too much Fox News, bro. Our border's not open. People ain't crossing that border. I was like, all right. And I found an article, interesting one that I'm going to break down later. But every day, the more people shoot me content to talk about, videos to talk about, subjects to talk about, it's always linked to something. So I've been able to open up my mind and find different resources and different outlets to gather up a bunch of stories. Los Angeles Times is one of them that I read all the time. And I could bring you guys a great story. So trip out on this one. With that being said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, always leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And check the links in the description for my Apple and Spotify music. Go ahead and run my streams up. And you can check out my playlist section on my YouTube channel and check out my music right there. Thank you guys for you guys' time. Most importantly, thank you guys for you guys' support. Now, when we cross that border, on the other side of the world, on the other side where all the cartels are going at it, all these criminal organizations, these big groups, they're all feuding. They're all causing a lot of people to cross that border and come over here because, they're tired of the violence and they're tired of getting caught up in the violence. They're tired of their loved ones having to turn to these criminal organizations just to make a better living, make a little bit more money to sustain their poor living, and just how the government down there in Mexico treats everybody. And I will share this perspective with you guys. And this is just me. Like, I get it. There's a lot of people in our country, in America, that don't want nobody coming and crossing those borders, breaching those borders from different foreign countries. And they have all their reasons and their excuses and their arguments. And then I look at Mexico and I look at, other foreign countries too, whether it's, guerra, war between the cartels, war between just regular criminal organizations, the way their government's treating them. And they haven't been here yet, so obviously they see United States as being luxurious, beautiful cities, cops and the police force. They crack down on crime. Everybody has an opportunity. They believe in that whole land of opportunity concept when they're on the other side of that border. So I get pulled back and forth when it comes to this. But in this regard right here, we have like almost 20-something officers. I want to say 23 right now as we speak, under investigation as being corrupted cops, working for these cartels, bribery charges and everything else you could think of when it comes to corrupted cops. 5 of these individuals are still permitted to work and are still on the workforce, still being investigated. But the rest of the individuals of the 23, they're on suspension pending investigation. And according to, the prosecutional office over there says, hey, man, we got enough evidence, but we're still digging up a bunch of dirt, but we're not going to be harboring criminals. We're not going to be working with criminals, but don't let the good cops, be tarnished by the bad elements of the police force. But bro, just by the media alone, just by, historical sense, just by, Hollywood portraying that same image, Mexico cops, man, they've always been corrupted at some point, one or another. And I'm not saying all of them. Some of them might be good cops, but that seems to be the biggest tale that we hear about when it comes to the law enforcement out there on the other side of the border. But then this story lines up with the one I'm about to tell you. So we had some other corrupted cops. And these ones, well, a lot of them made it, some didn't. Basically what happened was, we had some corrupted cops and they were involved in a heist and a theft against the criminal organization down there. What they did was they dressed up like private citizens. And it was a confiscation. They confiscated a big drug shipment by the cartel that's down there. And whatever they confiscated, they didn't report it to the institutions that were investigating this or conducting these raids. They didn't report nothing about the confiscation of these drugs. Well, they wind up harboring these drugs somewhere else. These corrupted officers who are seen, and the video went viral. The video went viral, and they finally grabbed that same video and turned it into the prosecution's office, and they verified who these individuals were. The video went viral. That's what kind of sealed the deal for these guys. It went viral, showing these guys going to a private residence, pulled up in a white Silverado truck, and they put a bunch of duffel bags in the back, took off. They had 2 other police units following them. One was Like there were two different police forces following this one white vehicle. So pretty much they stole from the cartel. And obviously the cartel didn't like that. First thing they did was they shot up the prosecution's office, one of the facilities. I don't know if they said that anybody got hit at the prosecutor's office, but they wind up gunning these two cops down, two different locations, in retaliation for them stealing the drugs. And the news, one of the media outlet news that I seen in Mexico or in Baja, one of the other, what was the news media that I seen? They actually showed the footage of everything taking place, and they blurred out the shooting that occurred. And I'm just showing you some pictures of what took place. One of them was gunned down at a gas station while he was refueling, and that's the end result of that. You know, some of these cops down there, they actually start working for these individuals, but they end up getting caught up, or they end up getting shot up by another cartel. These cartels find out a lot about each other, and they find out about the police forces who are on their payroll. So this cartel is gonna say, you know what? This officer over here is securing the pipeline, is transporting drugs under the legal assumption that it's a cop car, so it's being confiscated, it's being hidden. There could be a lot of reasons, but these guys will come and gun that cop down and say, hey man, we just cut off your pipeline, we just cut off your protection. Now we could really go after you because the cops can't protect you. But it made me sit there and ask myself, yeah, these individuals knew what they were doing. You know, they were playing with fire and they got burned. They went against an organization who is powerful, which a lot of these cartels are powerful because of the money, the resources, the finances, the weaponry. I mean, some of these cartels are buying army tanks. I mean, look at the CJNG. All you see is footage of them driving big old Hummers, army tanks, something you would see out of the military. You know, obviously they got the means to an end to accommodate these vehicles, accommodate bulletproof vehicles, these vests, these heavy artilleries that somehow, some way you would see in the military, but they got their hands on them. So, you know, the black market's deep, and, you know, obviously everybody's looking for a dollar. Everybody's getting rich in this underworld. But I sat here and read both these articles, and I asked myself, you know, because you do hear about it in the United States. There's been corrupted cops. You know, they've been documentaries about corrupted cops. You know, the mob had a bunch of cops. Some of these prison organizations had corrupted cops. Some of these prison organizations had corrupted lawyers. So corruption does exist. But I asked myself, now, why would so many cops become corrupted in Mexico and Baja or in these other foreign countries? Why? I asked myself, why? Yeah, I understand these cartels got a lot of money to play with, a lot of money to buy people off. But I'm pretty sure a lot of their government officials are paid off too. And it just took me back to watching Narcos Mexico and Narcos Colombia. You know, I watched those series on Netflix twice, and I seen how they would pay all these cops and pay these cops off just to get their agenda done. More protection right here, more protection right there, more protection in this office. Maybe we might even get this dude elected for president so he can just turn a blind eye and turn his face from whatever we do so we can get all drugs sent to the United States. But United States ain't the biggest consumption when it comes to all this drug shipment. You know, you got Canada, but then the money even triples even more when you send it overseas to like Europe and all that. So we're not the only country that absorbs this amount of drugs. You know, they're being shipped everywhere. It's just not us. But when I see all these shows and I see all these movies and when I read about it in the newspapers, you know, you look at the state in which all these cartels are destroying. They're fighting over all this territory. They're trying to fight over the control of this U.S. border so they can tax the migrant workers, so they can have all the shipping pipelines to get everything through the United States. That's what they're fighting for. Then they're fighting for power. Then they're fighting for a territorial gain. Not just this small level California stuff that I've always talked about. We're talking about big levels, a whole country of multiple cartels just fighting each other, feuding over each other. The Chapitos have like 7 different factions. That's all one Sinaloa cartel fighting the rest of the world. And a lot of these corrupted politicians and these corrupted cops play a big role into that. They become a part of that. And then like I said, I look at these shows and I look at just what it looks like out there. I mean, it looks like real poverty stricken. It looks broken down. You know, buildings are full of bullet holes. They're not repairing their buildings. They're not repairing their side roads. And they're not investing no money into their own country. For whatever reason, they're not investing in their own country, and the country's going to hell. And then I see a lot of people cross that border, and then we have this big argument in the United States about the border policy. Yeah, I get that. And to me personally, these cops get corrupted only on the basis that they just want money, and they're willing to do anything for money. The same way that's the minimum wage out here doesn't help a lot of the U.S. citizens even afford a great living. Some people just live check to check. Some people are at the state of just surviving now in the United States. I've seen so much TikToks where people talking about, man, the checks, the money I'm making, the checks, the inflation went up, but minimum wage didn't go up, and we're just living check to check. We're living broke. We didn't even go shop on Black Friday because we ain't got no money. We just stay at home. We don't go out. I hear this a lot. This big echo a lot on TikTok, where the economic slavery here is they make us work hard for just enough money to pay the bills, but nothing else. You know, you got to have passive income. You got to have 4 different hustles. You got to own your own company. Even then, same thing applies to these other foreign countries. The government doesn't pay these guys nothing. So what do? They turn to these organizations just to make that extra buck. Like that Sicario that I interviewed. He said, man, $250 of U.S. American money may not seem like a lot for us, but out there, $250 of American money turns into this amount of pesos. That's a great living out there. It's more than what we already had. It's more than what the government's given us. So that's how people sustain, a profitable living. And with corrupted cops getting paid by Mexican cartels, they're getting paid a little bit more. What, just to, stuff his trunk full of dope and drop it off over there? Way it's covered, that way nobody sees. I mean, it's a cop, man. He can't be doing nothing wrong, but he has a trunk full of dope, dropping it off at a warehouse where they wanted him to drop it off so they could drop it off in another car and ship it to the U.S. border. Or you have cops that actually hire sicarios that say, you know what, man, I can pull somebody over. They got to abide by the law. They got to abide by the rules. I show them my badge. I put them in the back of my car, take them down the road, and then you guys can gun them down. Same way they did Charlino Sanchez. Now, I'm not giving these guys excuses for what they do. This particular group went about it a little different and said, man, instead of just getting paid by this dude, let's just take them for everything we got. We can sell that ourselves and make as much money as we can. Well, they didn't get to live to see the money because they got gunned down by these cartels, and how the cartels were able to locate the exact individuals, their exact locations, know which exact cops did it, who knows, but they gunned these individuals down. Not all of them, but just a couple. So I'm not sitting here giving these guys a reasonable excuse to say, man, they're corrupted for a reason. It's a legitimate reason. No, they're corrupted because they chose money. They chose to live a better life. They chose to provide for their family with the legal means and utilizing the legal resources and utilizing their badge to get what they want, to get extra money and work with these cartels. But I just sit there and think, like, man, they don't get paid enough to do their job to fight these cartels. Their government wants them to risk their lives for these cartels and get gunned down, possibly get kidnapped, and get their family slaughtered the way these cartels act. I can see why they chose to turn to the corrupted side and say, man, I'm just trying to get paid. I'm trying to make a living. I'm trying to make money. Or some of them are just corrupted, like, man, I just want to be a thug. Man, I got this badge, man. I got power. I'm going to be just like these dudes, and I'm going to make money while I do it. Then I'm going to go pull people over and confiscate. Corruption does exist when it comes to money. I want to sit here and say money will corrupt anybody, but I can't say that at all. But I will end it on this. I'm going to do a video soon. I just got to get my thoughts together. I want to talk about it. One of the politicians that were running for president, Ron DeSantis from Florida, he said that if he was elected president, that he was going to send the special forces at the cartels. And like he was going to have people at the border and just gun these people down if they look like cartels. And I wanted to talk about that one, but that one's a bigger subject. It's a little bit out of my element, so I'm going to gather my thoughts, but I'm going to end it on that note. But I wanted to share that story with you guys, man. There's some crazy things going on outside of the world. Sometimes I read these news articles that people send me and I see what goes on around the world. And sometimes it's like, even though we're all struggling right here, I'm struggling right now just to pay the bills and pay my California bills and just live a normal life. I got to be thankful for what I got, man, because other places, man, people are getting corrupted and getting gunned down just trying to make a living, trying to make a better living. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. With that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. Peace.